Hello lovelies, welcome to my channel. My name is J Culture. Yes, I know it's been a very long while I've been on the screen. I just want to apologize to everyone for being absent. Yes, a lot of water have gone under the bridge, but still we thank God for everything. Thank you guys for your support, for your love. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it from the depth of my heart. And please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Okay, today we're going to discuss and draft what we call princess bodice blouse or contouring blouse, or as we all normally know it as bustier. Okay, I just want to give a brief explanation of what bustier is. A bustier is a fitted upper body garment. It's shaped by taking out extra fabric from the shoulder, neckline, armhole, or at the side of the body to the bust point, and under the bust to the center front. This creates a cup shape that supports the chest and gives a smooth fit to the waist. Here we have three types of bustier. We have the classic princess bustier, we have the armhole princess bustier, and we have the neckline princess bustier. So we're going to draft down the classic princess bustier. The measurements we'll be using: bust circumference 45 inches, shoulder to bust point 11 inches, under bust circumference 33 inches, under bust length 15 inches, shoulder to waist 18 inches, waist circumference 37 inches, hip circumference 47 inches, shoulder 15 inches, bust span 8.5 inches. Like I always say, firstly, I'm going to draw out our guideline. It doesn't really matter whether your paper is straight or not. I just love to draw my guideline. So it's going to serve as my shoulder line. I'm also going to do it at the side. It's going to serve as my center front. Having done that, so I'm going to just place down the measurements. Our standard measurement for armhole length is 8 inches, so I'm going to place it down. I'm going to take 8 inches here. It doesn't really matter if the person is a bigger size. You just place that 8 inches. So when you cut your fabric and you want to remove, you want your shoulder to, that's the armhole, to be a little wider than you already cut it. You can still make it wider. So it's safer this way to place 8 inches as your armhole length. Then the bust point, that's shoulder to bust point, is 11 inches. Then the under bust is 15 inches. The waist, that's the shoulder to waist, is 18 inches. Then the full length of the blouse is 25 inches. So I'm just going to extend it to give us a straight roll. Having done that, I'm going to label them so do not forget the lines. This is going to serve as our chest line. This is our bust point. This is our under bust line. Under bust, this is our waistline. And this is the full length of the blouse. Now we're going to place our shoulder measurement. Our shoulder measurement is 15 inches. We're going to divide 15 by 2. It's going to give us 7.5 inches. Then I'm going to add half an inch to make it 8 inches for sewing allowance. So I'm going to take it down to the chest line. I'm going to connect them together. Now I'm going to mark our neckline, our neck rather. So our standard measurement is 3 by 3. So I'm going to put 3 inches here and 3 inches here. Then I'm going to give it a curve. In case you don't have a curve ruler, you can use your hand to make a curve, just like so. Having done that, I'm going to mark our slope. To get our slope, I'm going to use 1.5 inches to get our slope. So I'm going to connect it to the neckline. So we have our shoulder length. Now we're going to mark the remaining part of the armhole length. We have 6.5. To get the midpoint, we divide it by 2. So on the midpoint, we're going to take in by 3/4 inches for small sizes, not really that small sizes, for to take out some excesses from this armhole area. You can use 1 inch for plus sizes, but I choose to use 3/4 inch for this particular measurement. So we're going to take down our bust measurement, which is 45. 45 divided by 4 will give us 11 1/4. So we're going to place 11 1/4 here to get our bust measurement. Then we'll come down to the under bust. The under bust is 33 divided by 4 will give us 8 1/4. Then we'll go to the waist. The waist divide, that we have 37 for the waist. Divide by 4 will give us 9 1/4. The hip is 47. Divide by 4 will give us 11 3/4. Now we're going to connect them together. You can see already we're removing a lot of excesses from the under bust. So this is what we have. Then we'll come to our armhole to connect. The tip of the shoulder. Then we'll mark this 3/4 inch. Then we'll take it to the bust line, the chest line rather, to connect. This will give us our armhole curve. So we have our bodice ready, almost ready rather. So now we're going to take down our bust span, which is 8.5 divided by 2 will give us 4 1/4. So we're going to mark 4 1/4 here. We're going to take it down to the full length of the blouse. So we're going to connect them together. Having done that, we're going to take the midpoint of the shoulder. We're going to measure the shoulder to get the midpoint. You divide it by 2 to get the midpoint. So we'll connect it to the bust point. That's the bust line. Now we're going to take out every excesses that we do not want to form that, that bra cup we need on our blouse. So we're going to take out some excesses. Now we're going to come to the under bust. Sometimes I use 3 inches for bigger bust, like D cup. I use 3 inches. Sometimes I use 2.5 inches. Then for small sizes, I use 2 inches or 1.5 inches, depending on how busty the client is. So here we're going to be using 3 inches to have that D cup form that we actually want. So here I'm going to take half an inch here under the bust line, half an inch. Then the remaining 2.5 inches, I'm going to take it by the side to make it 3 inches. Okay, so we took out 3 inches here. We're going to replace it back, okay, to complete our measurement. So we're going to place it back 3 inches here. Then we're going to take it down to the full line, but we're not going to take it to the full line directly. That 3 inches, we're not going to take it directly to the full line, full line. So we're going to take 1 inch, we're going to take half an inch here. We're going to take half an inch here to make it 1 inch dart intake. So we're going to replace it back to the measurement to complete our full measurements. So we're going to take the same thing we took from the underbust. We're also going to take it on the waistline. So we're going to take in half an inch here. Then we're going to take here 2.5 inches to make it 3 inches. Hope we are understanding. Then we're going to connect it. There are different ways you can use to take out your darts, the excesses that you don't want. This is one of the ways. I also like to show you guys the other way when I'm done with this. So we're going to connect it to the bust point. Now we're going to use our curve ruler. You see, this is a multi-purpose ruler, so you can actually use it to make your curve also. So we're going to use our curve ruler. You can also use your French curve depending on what you want. Now we're going to come to our shoulder. I hope you understand what I'm doing. Okay, we're going to come to our shoulder. On the line, we're going to take in by 3/4 inch on the shoulder here. We're going to take 3/4 inch here also to make it 1.5 inches dart. So we're going to connect it to the bust line. Before connecting it to the bust line, we're going to, from our bust line, we're going to take 2 inches upward because we don't want it to be directly to our bust. We want it to be a bit curved to make that bra-like shape that we're looking for. So this is what we have. Then I'll come to the side of the bodice and connect it. But before I do that, so I'm going to measure the intake of the dart here. So we took out 1/4 inch, so we're going to replace it back. It's very necessary you replace every dart intake, you place it back to the measurement, so to complete the measurement of your body or your client's body. So this is what we'll be having when we connect it. Oh, sorry, we're going to replace this waist too. So this is what we'll be having. Let me extend this. So you can see this is what we'll be having. We are almost done with the classic princess bustier. So now we're going to extend the shoulder so that we'll place back the dart intake we took from the shoulder. We took out 1.5 inches. So we're going to place it back to complete our measurements. So now we're going to also measure the length of what we took here. So we have 4 inches and 5 lines. So we're also going to make it here. Make sure you measure it from your shoulder line. You just mark so that you can get the exact dart intake. We took out 3/4 here, so we're going to replace it back by 3/4 inch here. So this is it. So we're going to connect it back to the bust line to get our armhole measurements. So this is what we'll be having. I hope we understand. In case we don't understand, you just notify me. Drop your comments in the C section and I will definitely reply you. So this is what we have for now. Now we're going to, you can add your sewing seam allowance on the bodice on your paper before you transfer it to your fabric, or you can decide to add it on your fabric after cutting out your paper. But I prefer to add my sewing seam allowance on my pattern paper in case I forget not to add it, you understand. So you can decide to add 1.5 inches or 2 inches depending on the size of your client, or depend on what your client wants. Okay, some clients don't really like their clothes to be too bulky with sewing seam allowance, but I prefer to add 2 inches. Okay, no matter what, I prefer to add 2 inches. So you can decide to add 2 inches here down to the fullness of the blouse, then you can connect it. So I'm just going to extend here and also here. So this is what we have for our classic princess bustier. Here I'm going to get back whatever intake we might be missing on the shoulder. So we have to make sure our shoulder is aligning with each other. So I'm going to just overlap this to get our shoulder line correctly. So you can tape it on ground. I'll just place my ruler since I'm going to remove it. So I'll just draw out a straight ruler, a straight line rather. So this is what you would do. So you see, this is what we'll be having. Or you could just make an arc. Make an arc here, then here, here, to get, so that you don't shorten the shoulder length. So now what to do, just for us to cut out. So whatever neck you want to design on your blouse, it depends on you. For now, we're going to be using our standard neck round measurement. So now I'm going to cut out so that you see it. Then I'm going to place sewing. Make sure you don't forget to place your sewing allowance for the for this dart intake we took. Make sure you don't forget to place your sewing allowance. So I'm going to cut out. So this is what we have for the front. So we're going to label it center front, side front. Now You can place it on your fabric and add half an inch for sewing allowance. Half an inch for sewing allowance. So I'm going to place it on another paper to get a full front classic bustier. So I've placed it on another paper. So what I'm going to do now is just to draw out the lines, okay, so that I'll add my half an inch sewing seam allowance. You can also do it while you're taking your measurements, but I just want us to understand this fully well before we start particularizing adding it to our measurements. Okay, so this is it. All we need to do is just to add half an inch here. Now we have this. If you think this place is too curvy for you, so you can slightly adjust it. This is the bust point line. You can slightly adjust it. If you feel it's too curvy under the bust, you can just slightly adjust it. Like so. Okay, so this is what you'll be having, but sometimes I like it this way, and I also like to adjust it depend on what I want to achieve. Okay, let me do it this way so that you understand what I'm talking about. So if you think it's too curvy, what you need to do is just slightly adjust it. You can use this other side to slightly adjust. To have this, okay, slightly adjust to have this, or you can also use the same way to adjust it, depending on what you like. So whichever way you want it, you want your bustier to look like, so you can just simply adjust it. So let me cut this out so that you see the form of this. So you see how it's looking. So depend on how you want your bustier cup to look like. Okay, you can either make it look this way, or you can make it look this way. It all depends on what you want to achieve. All right, okay, I'm going to place the other side of the pattern to make the sewing seam allowance. Now we've placed the center front on another paper so that we can draw out the sewing seam allowance. So we're going to rule out all the lines. So this is what we have for our front classic bustier. Please do not forget to add your folding allowance. Here I added 1 inch folding allowance. I forgot to add it when we were drafting it from the beginning. So like I said before, if you want to follow this line, this bust line area, you can decide to follow it. Or if you want to follow this very one, you can also decide to follow it, depend on what you want to achieve for your bustier. So right now I'm going to draft the back of the bodice.